And stop eating sweets.
Well, that's in the episode now.
Dan with a gaming flair, pixel dreams and worlds to share, joystick tales and button cues. Welcome to Gaming Views.
Welcome to Gaming Views, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. This week, we will be bravely venturing into the ever-growing, constantly newsworthy and wallet-draining world of gaming subscription services. We'll dive headfirst into the endless digital libraries to ask how many services is too many, are too many, too much, whatever, and ultimately try to figure out what ultimately equals value. From Game Pass gems to PlayStation Plus picks, we're digging through the digital clutter to find out what's worth playing and what should be left in the cloud permanently. I'm Dan P, and I'm your main host for the episode, but with me as always is a guy who's constantly top value for money. If he was a subscription tier, it would be ultra limited, extremely rare. In fact, it would be a tier all to himself. It's my wonderful co-host, Dan H. Hiya, Dan. How you doing?
Hello. That was very lovely of you to say so. If I was a tear, it would be the one rolling down my cheek every time I see some news from one of the main console makers.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is it. So, this is it. I'm gonna let all the listeners and viewers have a peek behind the curtain. So, we were going to record another episode entirely tonight, and then there was some news that happened. As we said, right, let's record this one now, which we were going to record in a week's time. So I've cobbled it together. And then in the last 24 hours, more news has broken. So we've kind of totally changed what we were going to talk about. So this episode might not be the finely honed, crafted piece of content you've seen.
That very much sounded like a complete excuse for this is going to be a shit show, so keep on tuning in.
And
because...
if it is, it's not my fault. We kind of, even though this is going to come out a week after, there's been a lot of news, like I said, in the last 48 hours, haven't there?
A lot.
It's one that has to be discussed, I feel. But
agreed.
But before we go on to that, some housekeeping. So if you're listening and you're not subscribed to us, please click subscribe, follow. YouTube's got a bell, hasn't it? Click the bell for notifications.
It's normally if you're watching our video, in the bottom right hand corner there's a little thing that just a picture of us, and you can click on that and it'll work.
Oh, no,
or you can click subscribe button.
One of these two.
There's a bottom right, and there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah, follow it. Leave us a comment. We've had a number of subscribers sign up on YouTube lately, so hello to all of you.
We love you guys.
Yeah, and leave comments on videos. I think this episode especially is going to potentially have comments. So let us know your thoughts once you've seen this.
Depends how wild you let me go, Dan.
Yeah. Well, no. Let's do it within reason. I would say let's do it within reason.
Right. Yes.
A couple of other things I was going to quickly say. So we've mentioned it before, but our copies of Retro Gamer have come out.
I don't know where mine is.
And
it's in my coffee table downstairs.
Yeah, we mentioned it. Where is it? This isn't what I prepared earlier, but yeah, we mentioned Mr. Ian Lee mentioned us in his column, so I won't show it to you properly because you need to go out and buy it. But yeah, we get name checked again, so thank you for that.
You're making it sound like you're advertising the magazine.
Well, if they want
to go and buy it,
they want to be a sponsor. And while we're talking about him, so last night we had the opportunity to go see Mr. Lee do his first live gig.
We had a Gaming Views road trip.
Yeah. We had a night out, a gaming night out.
Yeah.
And
dinner and a show, Dan.
Yeah, dinner and a show. I know how to show you.
People are going to start talking.
I know how to show you
train
a good
journeys,
time,
living together.
Yeah. It was, and the funny thing is, it was also there was a part of it that was hosted by David Turner, who was also a guest. So yeah, it was great, wasn't it? We got to see.
Got to see the double bubble with the two guys who joined us on Gaming Views. Please do go and watch those episodes because they are very funny and very candid and frank. And we will have David back at some point for the rest of the questions that we never asked him at some point.
And it was fun, isn't it? With him as well. What you hear and see on their pod is what you get. He was just brilliant, wasn't he? He was such a lovely guy. I mean, he had a really sort of. I mean, we've only met him that one time doing this pod, but we had a really good conversation with him, didn't we? And
again last night, it was like we were old friends. Just came over and chatted with us and had a good old chat about the pod and about
Even though
it was
ripped
lovely.
up.
It was a very enjoyable evening, very funny. And if it does take off, because it's almost like a precursor to one of Ian's like stand-up shows, please do go and see it, because I spent the entire time in absolute fits.
Yeah.
So it was very big, and the song at the end is an extra special treat.
Yeah.
So kind of watch that.
They're actually doing an extra night. They're doing it in Bath in February, I think. So if you are interested, have a look at that.
Apparently we're now plugging stand-up shows. So that's what we're doing on Gaming Views.
If you want to sponsor
whatever gets
us.
the viewers in.
Well, and also just say, David, if you're listening, thank you for ripping up our question on stage in front of everyone. But there we go. So.
But Ian Lee did say his favourite podcast was Gaming Views. I'm not saying that's but he did definitely say that.
All right, Dan, the main question, what you been playing?
I'm sorry to say, I have also been playing a lot of Borderlands 4 still.
That's good. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
I'm so sorry every time I turn up.
It feels like you're confessing something. That's not a bad thing.
So I have been playing a lot of it, but I talk about it a lot, and then I put the videos up and everyone goes, oh, for fuck's sake, move on, right? What are you, Randy Pitchford's bitch? No, I played that, but then I also played, and have really been enjoying, it's kind of a 10-minute hit thing, but it's got that same hook as Balatro, which is, I don't have to put the sound effect in now, which is Clover Pit.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So if you've played Inscription, the card game on PlayStation or Xbox, it's a similar kind of atmosphere to that, but it's all based around gambling and the dangers of gambling. Makes it sound really boring. With a slot machine, you're trapped in a dungeon, and you basically got a slot machine for company, and you pull a lever, and you've got bonuses and multipliers, and it's just really super addictive, and it's really good fun. And it's one of those things where you're also trying to work out a mystery in the background, very similar to Inscription, where you can kind of get up and move around the room and do things. So really enjoying that. I haven't quite figured out the best things to get malts and stuff like that, but yeah, I've enjoyed that. Other than that, I haven't really had a lot of time to play anything, and I am very conscious I do need to finish playing a game for a review that should be due out this Friday.
Yep.
If I can get it
so
done
you've got
this
4
Friday.
days, yeah. Well, I remember.
This Friday or last Friday? I'm trying to remember, my brain's melting down because of timing.
You've got to record it and schedule it for this Friday, but it'll be out
last Friday for the podcast purposes. Yeah. So enjoy that last Friday. It's like time travel, this. Right. That's me. That's what I haven't been playing. What have you actually been playing? I know what you've been playing, because you're a very happy boy.
I couldn't wait to send you a picture. So firstly, let's get the first one out of the way. I've actually been playing a bit of Hidden Cats in Tokyo on the Xbox, because that was out.
Have you?
The new Hidden Cats game was out.
Okay.
Yep. So playing that.
The viewers will be, and listeners will be aware of your fetish with cat games.
Hidden Cats specifically.
Sorry, Hidden
Cats.
But
then
games,
obviously I got my Steam Deck. I think when we recorded, I hadn't got it at that point.
Have you mentioned? I don't think you've ever mentioned to me you got a Steam Deck.
No, I've got a Steam Deck. Well, look, breaking news.
Every 5 minutes every day.
I've got my Steam Deck and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's such a beautiful bit of kit. And yes, I know I'm 2 years late to the party, but I'm just, it means I've got more to play on it. So, but yeah, kind of joking aside, I honestly do think it's a really good bit of kit. The screen's a lot better. So I got the LCD one, but size-wise, it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And yeah, it's so great, in terms of what it does. It feels good. It's got all the controls feel good. And yeah, what have I played? I played and completed Thank Goodness You're Here, which I've asked
You've gifted to me. I'll say thank you very much. I'm going to give that a go. Thank you.
That is, and I was put onto that by an old episode of We're Going to Invoke Their Name, Game Club Pod. They did an episode on it.
I thought we were going to go one episode.
But it's not this episode. And then the picture I sent you. So I'd also bought a dock for it. Not the dock, but I bought a dock for it. And I was playing God of War yesterday. I loved it. So I played it on the dock just to test that was working and how it works. So I think I was saying to you, I was playing PlayStation game on a Steam Deck through the TV with an Xbox controller. Worked perfectly.
What more could you want?
Yeah, and then
homogenization of all of your greatest loves.
And then
your wife probably sitting next to you. There you go.
Then I played it for a bit handheld. because certain games I think are going to be better on the screen, the TV. Yeah. But that I thought, let me see it, and it was just as good, if not sort of better. It felt like handheld mode, and so when I'm playing handheld mode, then the wife can watch the TV.
It's very generous of you.
But yeah. But yeah, no, I'm really pleased with it. I just wish if it had come a few days earlier, because we mentioned the cankle last week, the sprained ankle, and it would have been a lot better coming earlier in the week. But yeah, I have to say I am a real convert, and I kept saying to you in the car last night, I think I mentioned it about 74 times, didn't I?
75, I think it was. But yeah, you're not far off. I'm genuinely really chuffed that you love it, and it is, I think, the perfect blend for you. And it's a magnificent piece of kit anyway, the Steam Deck. And what good value for money, which is timely talking about this episode. What great value for money, getting it at the reduced cost that it is on sale at the moment, the LCD version. It's just a cracking price for a really solid piece of hardware.
Yeah. I mean, look, and I know, like I said, there'll be people saying that, well, the OLED screen's better. I've got no doubt that it will be better, and it's slightly bigger screen. However, for me, it's coming from the fact that I haven't been a PC gamer for years and have missed out on that, as well as some PlayStation games. Just having it, and like I said to you, I've not bought it to ultimately be portable as well. For the majority of the time, I'll probably hook it up to the TV for those games. However, like I said, it is such a great bit of kit that it feels solid. It feels good in the hands. It's like I said, it's comfortable. It's not heavy. Yeah, blown away by it, and very happy customer. So
yeah, I mean, when the Switch 2 was launched, all the comparisons were really against the Steam Deck because it was kind of the closest thing out there to do a comparison with. And whilst in a lot of cases, and bearing in mind, the Switch 2's, 2 years worth of hardware advancement and development and everything else, the gains were marginal. They were razor thin in some cases. So, when you're running something like Cyberpunk and things like that, and occasionally the Steam Deck came out on top. So I think, to get something for that price that's comparative to the latest bit of hardware from Nintendo is phenomenal, and it's, I'm just hoping and praying that the Ally ROG X Xbox is up there, and performs well, because otherwise I'm going to be kicking myself, or just sending it back and buying a Steam Deck.
Well, you'll hear Dan's views on that in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I'll do a bit of a thing, and we'll have a bit of a chat about it.
Yeah.
When it arrives, 16th, I think it gets due to come.
Well, it's interesting because that's going to kind of, I guess, link into our main theme today. But before we kind of get stuck into that and explain why it's changed and everything, so did you have anything else you wanted to talk about? Was there anything else, anything news-wise?
I guess there's a couple of bits of news that come out today. One interesting piece, I think just before we came on, there was a rumour. We have to caveat these things rumours because we can't afford legal representation. On a site that just talked about one of the reasons, talking to handhelds, nicely linked, thanks, Dan. One of the reasons that Microsoft potentially cancelled their handheld, so their own hardware, was due to the fact that AMD, the person who would develop the system on chip for them, would only develop that bespoke chip for them if they put in an order of 10 million units, which we all know they were never going to do because it's an untested market for them, creating a handheld and shipping it and selling it. So it was just a really interesting perspective on why that might have happened. And bearing in mind they already embed with Asus to develop the latest their hardware that they're working on. It was interesting to kind of see that about face and pivot and kind of go, no, we're not doing it. Now, none of this has been confirmed. That's the interesting thing. No, Microsoft have never specifically stood up and said, yes, we're going to make a handheld. They've never demonstrated or shown it. We haven't seen any prototypes or anything like that. So a lot of this is going to be conjecture and, people making rumors up as they do to get views or whatever. We don't do that. I have to caveat with this. It was heavily a rumor, but it's an interesting, if true, and you can kind of see how it could be. Because a lot of this is about the inner workings of business and the commercials and the agreements that they have. And obviously they did announce recently their future hardware will be produced via AMD, and they've done this joint venture with them for the next however long. And they also today countered a rumor that had gone around at the weekend from a site suggesting that Microsoft would not be producing any new hardware for the next generation. And I think it's quite something for a company to come out and go, no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
We are still doing that, albeit for now.
However, I've got views on that, which are going to come up. And
are they gaming views?
They are gaming views, fortunately.
Thank God for that.
Fortunately. Because it's been an interesting week for Microsoft. I had while you were saying, I did remember a story I sent to you, which I remember sending to you. So I'm going to have to use my phone because I can remember, because I found it unusual at the time. It was last week, so I found it on Kotaku. Pillars of Eternity 2 and more games were pulled from online stores after Unity reveals years-old security exploit. And for me, I'm sure there's been more, but I was saying to you, it's the first time, you hear OS exploits and browser exploits, etc. But it was the first time I'd heard that games were having to be pulled from digital stores because of an exploit in their engine, right?
Wasn't one of them? What's the game Microsoft released recently where you make your characters tiny and runs around and fight with ants and spiders? Grounded 2. That was one of them that had the exploit, wasn't it? So they had to patch that or pull that as well. Yeah.
So I think there was a fix found quite quickly, and a lot of them I think came back the same day. But I just found it interesting. That there was an exploit in the game engine. I mean, it probably makes absolute sense, right? In that sense that there could be. But and again, I think it might feed into something we're going to talk about around the whole digital world, right? And things disappearing. But before we get into it, there was one more thing that also popped into mind, just random one. I'd said to you a number of times as well this week that it's a game that we've mentioned on here a lot. It's a game I don't play. I've never played, but I wish I had done for that weekend. But Fortnite, we talked about skins and we talked about the events. But last weekend, I think it was, or 2 weekends ago, they did the Daft Punk event, which I don't know if you've had a chance to look at online, but
I haven't watched amazing. It, no, but you did. It was incredible.
It looked amazing. I wish I could have seen it. Obviously being like a fan of the band, but it just looked like an event that was done for fans of, rather than just a quick cash in potentially. But just from the clips I've seen, so if anyone out there was in that event, to all intents and purposes, it feels like it was a recreation of, I think, their 2007 concert, which kind of just feels fantastic. And that, for me, is what we could potentially be doing more of in these online worlds.
I think it's
I won't get tickets for those either, no doubt.
No, you won't. No, but Oasis be appearing on the next. I don't mind the kind of concert stuff, but just this afternoon after my kids got in from school, I came down to say hello to my 12-year-old, and she's like, can I go on Fortnite and spend my V-Bucks that she got for her birthday? And it's all about K-pop demon hunters.
Oh yes, because
I think she'd been logged in, so I had to restart the game, so it picked up the latest content and everything, and then it showed the promo of it. Oh my God, they went absolutely nuts. Both of my girls just went absolutely screaming and like, oh my God, can I be Zoe? I don't know their names, but can I be this guy? And I'm just like,
I've heard it's a very good film. Have you seen it? Or
I saw like the opening bit on an aeroplane or something. It was good. It was great. I love that the girls love it. But that does feel like everything, or a lot of the other stuff before, like a cash in. It's like, they could have a bunch of kids who just go, oh my God, I want to go. Because now she wants, and what I discovered, because I added these V-Bucks onto her account for her. So someone had given her a £10 gift card. And I added it on, and whether it comes up in tonight's episode, what really pissed me off is the lowest amount I could spend on V-Bucks was, because it's a £10 gift card, not 1,000 V-Bucks.
Right.
So you can only spend $6.99 on 1,000 V-Bucks, and you can't then spend up to £10. You have to then spend another $6.99 for the next.
Right.
So it's that, that continual, just drip feed of, can I have a bit more? Can I do a bit more? And it just really, really annoyed me, because in the lowest value stuff they got, she wanted one of the characters she wanted was $1,500. But you can't get that for the $6.99. So.
Accidental,
but then in my head,
accidental or intentional?
Intentional, totally, right? But in my head, because I'm, nearly 50 and a grumpy old bastard, I'm sitting there going, hang on a minute. So she wants that character. She has got to spend the equivalent of a tenner on a skin.
Yeah.
Just one skin, not all of them. Just one of them is 1,500, which is, $6.99 plus half of $6.99, so £10.50. And I'm like, she could buy a fucking t-shirt for that, like an actual piece of clothing, not a.
Yeah.
I'm just gobsmacked because I don't invest or see any value in investing in cosmetics and stuff in any game. It just, for me, it blows my mind that people would do that, and that is grumpy old man speaking. But the kid,
in my day, they will run through playing the game. Yeah.
In my day, it was a little circle chasing ghosts around the thing after eating a pill. I mean, But yeah, I was like, that's £10.50 for one outfit that next year they're not going to care about.
Yeah. Well, look, you're talking about cost. You've done my job for me there as well and segued into the main episode. Look, we've been talking already 20 minutes, so let's get stuck in because I think we've potentially got a lot to say on this. So I had an episode lined up about subscription services, right? Gaming ones. And we then had, I think, when was it? Friday or Saturday? Microsoft.
It was Friday.
Yeah. So 3 days ago at time of recording, Microsoft came out with the bombshell news that they are changing the Game Pass tiers. So they are basically, at least definitely in the UK, I think in Europe and US, they are putting the top tier up, the ultimate tier up 50%. So UK, it was $14.99 a month. That's going up to $22.99. And in the US, I think it was $19.99. It's now going up to $29.99.
Yeah,
as effective as of 4th of November.
That's for ultimate.
Yes, yeah. Now, if I did want to just for clarity, just put out what the tiers were. So with my old man eyesight not being able to see this, let me just bring this over. So now basically you're going to have the essential tier, which is probably $9.99 in the UK and $9.99 in the US. So it's 50 games, playable on PC, console and cloud, unlimited cloud gaming, in-game benefits including for Riot Games, online console multiplayer, and you can earn up to $25 a year. That's probably going to be pounds in the store. You then got premium, which is $14.99. So that's what you were paying for Ultimate in the UK.
Yep.
And it's going to be $14.99 as well in the States. 200 plus games on PC, console, and I think it's everything previous, but you're going to get new Xbox published games within a year of launch. So that's important. So not day one, you'll get it within a year of launch, and it's going to be $50 a year in store rewards. Then the Ultimate, which is what we said, $22.99. So in the UK, you're looking at £275.88 a year, and in the States, $239.88 a year. That's going to be 400 games a year. 400 plus games. And then that's where you're going to get your 75 plus day one games a year, including all Xbox published games. You're going to get Ubisoft plus classics thrown in now, as well as EA Play already included, and Fortnite Crew, which for me, I don't know. I know you said you know a bit more about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the bombshell news first. And of course, the internet being the internet was ablaze with commentary on, over the last few days. Yeah.
That's basically the main theme of it. Microsoft suck.
Basically. And I was just going to compare. So with PlayStation, I did have a load, but we're not going to be able to get through it all now. So I'll just compare it to the PlayStation and who we're going to say are their main rival, right? So you've got Essential, which is monthly games, online multiplayer and more, some discounts here and there.
Yeah.
That is, and it's a bit harder to do, but I'm going to do it for 1 month just to make it the same. So you're looking at $10, $9.99 in the States, £6.99 in the UK. For the extra, which you get a lot more games, I think Ubisoft plus classics. So that's a parity. Microsoft have done a parity.
Yeah, they've had that for years.
Yeah. The extra is £10.99 in the UK, so £4 less, than $14.99 in the States. And the premium plan, which is game trials, cloud streaming, Sony Pictures catalogs, and the classics catalog, you are looking at $13.49 a month. So what's that, £9 pretty much less, and $17.99 for the States. And just to say, Sony do deals on bulk buying, so they've got a year's subscription to the premium in the UK, instead of being $161.88 would be $119.99. So there's a value for money there. So first things first, Dan, let's throw it over to you. So what was your initial reaction to this news?
So I'll talk about how I found out first.
Okay. Yeah.
So I saw a couple of things flip up on the news, on the news feeds, and I was vaguely half paying attention because I was knee deep in work on Friday afternoon when it broke. And I'd kind of walked away from my desk and not really, as a host of a gaming podcast, not really paid any attention to it. And then went downstairs, and I think I was doom scrolling through Instagram, and I saw the announcement from Xbox, and it was this lovely lady, very charmingly, explaining about the changes and making it feel like, oh, it's all fine. And if you haven't seen it, go and watch it, because it is it's a lesson in how to bullshit your audience. And it's like, don't worry, everything's changing, but it's all the same. Don't worry. And so I watched it, and I was kind of like, I'm not sure this is telling me the entire story. I think what you've done is talked about the enhancements for the core services, the smaller, the low, but not really talked about, all right, Ultimate at the moment includes your PC. The other services don't. So they get, they get that, which is lovely for everyone who double games like I do on PC and Xbox. So I then went and started reading through, and that's when I was sending you stuff going, what the fuck? Like, this is like insane. Like, it's 50% more. And as an Ultimate subscriber, like I am, I'm getting nothing. I'm just paying them more money. So yeah, it was kind of, from my perspective on it, was a bit of frustration. And we've had this conversation yesterday, but for the viewers and listeners, I'm in a very privileged position where it's not, that additional, I don't know what it is, 7 or 8 quid or whatever for me.
It's about £9 extra a month, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. I can swallow that. Right. And I can swallow it and kind of go, do you know what? I actually get quite a lot of value out of Game Pass across both platforms. Moving to the Asus ROG Ally X as a Xbox, sorry, as a new handheld and potentially docked piece of hardware, it makes even more sense for me, because then I've got my catalog everywhere. So I can swallow it, but I can also see why it's generated so much anger and frustration across the community, kind of going, they're just taking us for mugs. And there was an article I read earlier today. I think she was the ex-head of the FTC who had been involved in the merger for Activision and Blizzard and been very, very much against it. And she came out and said, they're just too big to care anymore. They genuinely just don't care. I can't remember her exact quote. I should have had it up here for us. And it was a Twitter quote that she basically said, they're just too big to care anymore. They just don't, And I don't know if this is a moving away from games or not really caring about the Xbox as a brand, or whether it's just genuinely that they're so big.
They can do what
they're
they
not
want.
bothered.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much around it, isn't there? There's so much around, how much money they potentially lost on Call of Duty Black Ops 6. There's all these kind of things going around. So,
well, this is what I was going to say. So I've tried to think about this reasonably, right? So I had the initial gamer reaction as well, where you're having a laugh, 50% extra, and it's subtle. It's funny what you said. So you said as a premium. Ultimate, member, you're not getting anything extra. I mean, the argument, and this is me talking rationally before people sort of shout at me and say I'm a fanboy. The argument now is, well, no, you're going to get the day one games, which you don't get if you're a lesser member.
So it's not extra because I already got those.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yes. Right. But
I'm in the privileged position of paying more money for what I was getting.
This is what I was going to come to. This is what I was going to come to. But you're going to
get some old shit from Ubisoft.
Well, you're going to get Ubisoft Plus Classics, which, look, isn't bad, right? But I was saying to you, like us old heads, I've probably played all that, and I probably own all those, because they're always coming up in the sales, and I've probably picked them up for like £6, £7 here or there. Plus Fortnite Cruise, which is their season pass, is it? Which is value if you play it.
So there is. I don't know how big the market is for Fortnite on the Xbox. I don't know how many players they have. I don't know what that looks like. I didn't do any research on this thing, weirdly, because we kind of cobbled it together, like you said. But from what I've understood, and my kids playing it, there is a bunch of value in there. So you get 1,000 V-Bucks a month, which is, we just said, is about £10.50's worth. If you put that in real money, right, £10.50. There is also access to the OG Battle Pass, the Lego Battle Pass, and I can't remember what the other one is. There's another one, which I think if you bought those or you subscribe to those individually, I think they're $9.99 each. So that, again, is 30 quid. So you start, if you were to break it down, which if Xbox were sensible, they probably should have done some of this for not made us go and do the homework.
Yeah.
Is kind of gone, well, actually, you're getting just from that Fortnite bit. And if you've got a massive community who are happy to do that, you get a bunch of value, right? You're getting free skins and free clobber every month. So it's good from that perspective. It's good value. And look, as much as I'm not a fan of Fortnite, I think it does some really good stuff really well. It does the whole Rock Band simulation thing. It does Lego really well. There's some stuff in there that kids particularly really enjoy. And actually, there's a friend of mine, a little bit younger than me, but he's a grown adult, loves Fortnite. Plays it every night. Like, he's a proper Fortnite fan. So there are people out there who love this stuff and will get tons of value from it.
But
it's not for me.
But what I would say though is, I know it's not for me, so I wouldn't make use of it. And be honest, I probably wouldn't make use of the Ubisoft Plus. But what I would say is, if I'm going to look at it objectively, which I've tried to do, I still would say there is value in it. But I think the problem is it's come with a 50% increase, which look isn't a small amount, right? And it's come in such a bad way as well. And the thing is, it's also coming at a time where I think they've put the price of the consoles up. I mean, the ROG Ally X, whichever it's called, is a pricey bit of kit.
Yeah.
So my argument with it is, did we as gamers also, and not everyone would have done, but did we sleepwalk into it? Because the Activision Blizzard purchase, what was that? That was billions, right?
Yeah.
Did we not think that was going to come without a cost? And who was going to shoulder that cost? So the annoying thing is, I'm sure at the time, so I'll say allegedly, but I'm sure at the time they said nothing was going to change with that acquisition.
There's always the leading line, which is what panicked me about the whole EA thing, the 55 billion last week. You know, the CEO going, nothing's going to change, where really it's like, you read between the lines, like everything is going to change.
But I guess what I'm saying to the questions I'm trying to form to you are two. So one is, could we as gamers really not see this coming, or do we think it's totally sort of unreasonable with what they've spent? I'm not saying they've spent that money right, Microsoft. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do, but we should have probably seen it coming. But also, you kind of said it. I think intrinsically there is still value there. It's what does value mean to you, and each person's going to be individual, right, to what that value could mean.
Yeah, I don't know if they're also, in a way, taking gamers for granted by saying you've built this massive back catalogue of games like you have and haven't got through 60% of them that you will no longer have access to, and kind of gone, well, do you know what? They're gonna stick with us anyway, because even if they're not at the ultimate anymore, they're going to drop down to the medium tier. We might take a hit on that. I suspect the reaction has probably shocked them a little bit, you know, because they've got too big for themselves and kind of gone whatever. And then there's all these stories about the unsubscribing from the site, the site crashing and all these kind of stories. And if you took the reports and the reactions on Twitter or reactions on X or Instagram, if you just walked into it cold, you go, Microsoft are really shit the bed, like massively. But it is more nuanced, because you're right. What value do you derive as a gamer from the service? Bearing in mind, as we've said before, you don't own anything. None of this is yours. Yep. And at any moment in time, they can choose whatever game it is, whether it's a day one release that you picked up a week ago, or whether it's something you've been playing for the last year. They could at any time go, I'm sorry, that's no longer there anymore. Yeah. And then nothing, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. See, the interesting thing for me, the back catalogue is more, I'm going to worry about that with the other story you said, if they were to pull out the hardware market, because mine, that is owned. But, and I'll say it here, I don't mind. So I said to you, so I have turned off now my recurring billing for
your auto renew.
Yeah, auto renew for Game Pass. Now, I'm subscribed through till May because I was able to pick up at the time online retailers. You get them really cheap. So that's why I've got it through to May. What I've done is I've turned it off, not because I'm not necessarily done it out of protest or that I don't want to do it, but I don't want to automatically have to pay that now, because the thing with me is Game Pass, where I found the value for Game Pass is I can dabble in games. So every game, not saying every game, but say they release 20 games a month. 10 of those I might try. I might only like 4 of those, but I've not had to pay for those 10 games. Now, what also I might do is at this price, and especially at a discounted price, I might not use Game Pass games for a month, maybe 2 months. But I know as soon as Expedition 33, for example, is on there, I know as soon as I played that, that's recouped in my head. I've recouped that money.
Yeah.
What I'm now going to possibly do is say, right, do I just subscribe as and when I feel like, right, this month we've got a new FIFA game, we've got a new Obsidian game, and we've got a new Bethesda game. Do I subscribe for a couple of months at a time to do that? That's what I might end up doing.
And that's where you and I differ in terms of value. So we talk about how you derive value. For me, it's all about day one. I don't have to worry about, I've said it before in this I'm sure on this podcast, I no longer have to worry about pre-ordering something that I know I'm going to play, and is it going to turn up on the day? Am I going to get the thing and install it? And no, I'll preload it, and I've got it day one. Outer Worlds is a prime example. Right, it's already preloaded. When that launches, I'll be on that day one. Happy days, I'm playing it. Right, and for me, that £22 a month, that's value for money, right? And it's a weird thing to say out loud, and it's going to get people's backs up. And I'm not going to apologise, because that's my personal view. But I do also understand other people are going to be going, well, no, because that's £250 a year I'm spending now to potentially play a game that I could have bought for, I don't know, 50, 60 quid, 70 quid, whatever the prices are now. So I do understand it. But then I also get the other benefits of going, yeah, but there's stuff on there that I wouldn't have ever dreamed of picking up that I've now played or purchased, downloaded and played through Game Pass because it was there.
And we can't trade games now. So if you don't like a game, you can't sell it back, right?
Yeah, but I also don't need to. I can just go, I play it 5 minutes.
This is what I'm saying. This is
the Netflix of games.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and this is what I've benefited from, because like I said to you, I've tried games that I may never have bought because in my head, I don't like that. I don't like RTS, or I don't like this. Yeah. So I played it. I might like it. I might play it. I might hate it, but I've not dropped £30, £40 on it. And, the day ones, absolutely. People say, oh, I'm just going to buy the games. Well, I've not bought Borderlands myself yet because I don't want to spend that, or I don't want to buy that. It's $69.99. Now, if you're buying 4 games a year, that's the price of Game Pass. Now, I know that's how people say, well, that's how they try sell it to you. That's how they hook you. But honestly, if you are buying 4 games a year, then you cover that in Game Pass. It might not have all the games you want, but in those 75 plus games, there are going to be some big games, right?
Oh, yeah, all that. I think we suggest look, probably 78% of them are going to be not it's the wrong word, sorry.
Not for us.
They're going to be value games, they're going to, or budget games.
Yeah,
they're going to, there's going to be a bunch of them that aren't big ticket items. But then along with that, you're going to get, 6 or 7 big ticket items that, this year.
Avowed, Expedition 33.
Doom Dark Ages, Outer Worlds 2, South of Midnight, Keeper, all of these games that are coming out or have come out and launched on Game Pass. If I think
Rematch,
I've played all of those.
For me, it's another one, that I've played a lot of. And,
which one?
Rematch, that's on Game Pass, right?
So if you, and this is my point, and I can't believe I'm fucking arguing in their favour, but as a gamer, if I'd have gone out and bought all of those things individually, and Doom Dark Ages, with retail, because I digital, most of my stuff is digital anyway. If I went out and digitally bought that game, I think even on, and I am an early adopter. So, and again, unapologetically, I like playing things day one. I like being at the head of the queue doing that.
We need day one people.
But if that was me, so I would have paid 60 quid for Doom Dark Ages as an example. I will pay, or would have paid. Will pay, no, I won't, but would have paid 60 quid for Outer Worlds 2. Or, so if I'm doing, and in my head, I'm going, that's, all right, call it, and then maybe there's 10 games, right? Not all of them are going to be 60 quid, but average, I would have paid about 500 quid.
Yeah.
And I'd have got, all right, maybe 250, 300 hours of value out of that. But actually, in real terms, I'm going to end up paying 250 quid and get all that and a bunch of other stuff just through Game Pass. But for me personally,
this is what I'm trying to say, right? And this is what I was saying. We're trying to look at this rationally. Now, there was a knee-jerk reaction, absolutely. And look, it's seen as Microsoft, obviously, bad company because it doesn't care about gamers. That's the impression we've had for years. It's obviously done a lot of bad things recently, shuttering studios, getting rid of people. That is terrible, right? So to then announce a 50% rise in a bill that you're paying, if we were to have anything go up 50%, we're going to complain. But I think people, I think you've got to look past the headline of it's a 50% rise and say, right, what are you getting for that? Because, we saw the same. You mentioned about you quoted the story of the subscription page crashing because people were trying to unsubscribe. Well, I think, do you remember when Amazon introduced ads unless you pay $2.99 in the Prime? That was the same thing. But I bet you bottom dollar, a lot of them either resubscribed or there's still people. Yeah, and I'm on. I'm on that. And look,
I get out adverts on Amazon Prime. I pay $2.99 a month for it.
Netflix have done it as well. Netflix have recently up their price. So.
Disney are fucking terrible for
Disney. So and I think it feeds into something I was going to say, and you sent me a video earlier that perfectly encapsulated what I was going to say was subscription fatigue, and it feels like I'd already done it elsewhere, done an episode on like TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney, Apple. Sports, if you want sport, you have to have Sky Sports, you have to have Amazon Sports, you have to have TNT Sports, BT Sports. So now that's crossed into the gaming world.
Yeah.
Most people are going to have probably Prime and Netflix, or Netflix and Apple, or Netflix and Disney, minimum, or all of them. And I reckon if you've got...
I'd sound like a right twat.
No.
I'm just so sad.
No. But I think if you've got a PlayStation and a Xbox, likelihood is you're probably subscribing to those as well.
And Nintendo Online.
Nintendo Online. And the thing is, right, I'll just mention...
I could pay my mortgage off if I stopped subscribing. That's what I've just worked out.
But then we wouldn't have a podcast, right?
That's true.
But then I also had a look, and people will shout and say you don't have to subscribe to all of them, and I'm not saying you do, but as well as that, you've just said Nintendo Switch Online, you've got Apple Arcade, you've got Google Play Pass, you've got EA Play, part of Game Pass, Ubisoft Plus, part of Game Pass, Amazon Luna, which you can get on Amazon Prime, but if you're not, you've got Nvidia GeForce Now, which I think is Nvidia's streaming service.
Yeah, that's a bit different. So it's a streaming service you pay for, but you have to own the game. So
I wasn't sure. Okay.
Yeah, you have to actually own the game. So it's very different model.
Okay.
And some would say significantly less value for money, I think. But you do get to stream it on super, super powerful hardware.
There you go.
That's the benefit of it.
But then you start going into the even minute sort of finer details. You've got GTA Plus, which is Rockstar's one, where you get access to games, past games plus online, GTA Online stuff. You've got, what's the other one? I've forgotten it. I had it written down. But there is another game-specific one. I can't remember who it is now. But we've got so many now. We've got so many, haven't we?
Yeah. Too many. Too many. Look, it's nice to have the choice. And I do get the argument about, but remember the good old days when you just went and bought a game and played a game and traded a game. And, I love those days. But the world moves on.
And we played a lot less games then.
Yeah, totally. And but I guess, that's true. Part of being an early adopter, I think, is being able to kind of go, but things are moving fast, and therefore, I'm happy to go and do that. And not everyone wants that. Not everyone enjoys that, and not everyone wants to be a part of that. So I can totally get it. I think what surprised me most about Microsoft, on a slightly different tangent, and what they did, is they basically went, and this blew my mind. They basically sat there and we went, what's a less superior service to Game Pass? Let's model ourselves on that one. And it was essentially looking at PlayStation, whichever way you cut it, PlayStation's got, I subscribe to PlayStation Plus. This isn't a ragging on Sony, who do get an easy ride, as you said earlier. But their subscription model is not as good value for money, from my perspective as a gamer, as Xbox's. Mainly because, like I said, I love the day one releases. And Sony will not put first party day one releases on. They've been vehemently opposed to it since the start of that subscription model. And so they had, I think they've renamed recently, and you said them earlier, but they had the core, they had the plus, and then the premium, whatever it is. And I subscribe to the plus because I'm not that interested in their back catalogue. Because I don't need that nostalgia hit from PlayStation, weirdly. So, I subscribed to it, and, I've picked up some great games I really enjoyed, Dying Light 2 being one of them recently. I played that on PlayStation because it was there. Really got into that and then went back and played Dying Light. But I've never seen it as good value for money as Xbox. So it was really weird for Xbox and Microsoft to go, let's model our new subscription model on what they're doing. The one that's less value for money and less good for gamers. It's a really weird thing to do.
I think it's just a sweetener, though, isn't it? I think it's they've done a deal, and because it's a really good point, right? So if we're going to look at it, where's my table? I think I said the PlayStation, and having said that PlayStation do discounts. To be fair, I'm going to do it on a monthly basis.
Don't even start on the discounts, right? Because we need to come to that, right? Because that pissed me off as well.
All right, go on then. So,
that meme of Lando Calrissian in Empire Strikes Back, where he's going, "This deal's getting worse all the time."
God, I love a Star Wars.
This fucking deal's getting worse all the time. Like when you look at, I was reading earlier, and I think it broke this morning because someone had asked the question about, so can I still get my DLC for COD?
Oh, you're talking about Game Pass.
Rate.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Right, on Game Pass. Can I still get it at a discounted rate? And the answer was basically, no, you'll get Xbox rewards. Oh, but it's not just COD. That's everything. You've now lost your discounts against games that you used to get as part of being a Game Pass subscriber.
They used to do 10% discount, didn't they, on games that were in Game Pass?
Those.
Yeah.
When a game has been out of season and I fancy playing it and I've seen it in a sale, and they've gone, you get, as a Game Pass subscriber, you get it for cheap. No, not anymore. You get it for the rewards, which, let's be honest, are the thick end of fuck all, right? Every day I log on and I get pops up and goes, oh, you got 10 reward points. And I go, oh, great. Now I've got 400 or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
But you know what? It's a really good point. And sorry to interrupt, but thank you, because you reminded me.
You're not. No, you are. Sorry, you're not interrupting me. I was finished ranting. Sorry.
How rude. No, what I'm saying is, you remind me, because we were saying it was just bad news after bad news for Microsoft, because you're right. They didn't even announce it. It kind of just leaked today about this 10%, right? But also,
somebody asked questions, somebody responded, and they're probably going, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have said that.
But also, you talk about the reward points, but I think last week as well, they've actually made it harder to... So I used to get Game Pass Ultimate through reward points because, if you did the tasks, etc., and you bought games, you could rack them up over an amount of time. But they've made it harder to get points, but they've now also taken away the ability to buy Game Pass Ultimate with reward points. What you have to do is buy a gift card, which is less rewarding to buy it. So they've technically made it harder to get Game Pass Ultimate through the reward points.
That's why this whole thing, wherever you look and connect the dots, this whole thing feels engineered to squeeze the most money out of gamers. And that's why I've got this dichotomy, because I'm kind of like, I don't mind paying the extra. I mean, I'll put it out there. I'm saying I'm paying the extra. I'm not at the moment, because I get mine through EE, through my mobile or broadband, one of them. Yeah. So I get mine through that. So I pay £12 a month on top for that as a freebie thrown in with it. But that they can't subsidise that forever, and they won't. So that price is going to go up. But at that point, I'm not going to go, I'll cancel it, thanks. I'm just going to carry on with it, right? Because I'm cool with it. But I still have this dichotomy, like I said, that goes, but I'm really fucking pissed off at Microsoft for doing this to everyone else as well, because I think it just sucks.
But what I will say, and actually just to throw another thing about subsidising, so GameStop in the States have said they're going to continue to sell it for $19.99 a month. So it'd be interesting to see how long they do that for, because they haven't said for the foreseeable, well, for the short term. They've just said we're going to continue.
They showed the cards at the same time, didn't they, in the image, and they are the cards that are printed with the $19.99 on it. So I wonder if they bought a pre-stock of cards that they're having to run down, because you can't sell them at a higher retail value than what's printed on the card. So I wonder if there's some of that going on. Yeah. But it's not the only thing retailers in the States are doing, right?
No, well, tell you what, let's go on to that. I just need to make sure I don't forget my points. Or shall we come on to that after?
No. Do your points first. Sorry, dude.
Because, no, don't. Because my brain is all over the place with this, because I said to you this is an interesting topic. So to go back to me, so I said I've turned off the auto renew. Now, the reason being is because at the moment, like I said, I've got it through to May, so I'm in no concern. But also, I want to see where I'm at that point, because like I said to you, I've got the Steam Deck now. So now I can see my backlog of Steam games building up. And, I could spend a lot more time on that. So, there's not to say I'm not going to pick up the subscription again. But, and also just in case people picked up on it, I said earlier that Sony get an easy ride. And I think, so just to clarify what I meant by that, because look, I think the shock factor here, so there's two elements here. I think Microsoft are woefully bad at the PR side of things, right? This is all leaked out. And I've got some comments from them, which I'll come on to after, but they're doing damage control because they haven't got ahead of it. It's reactionary, right? So I think that's an element of it. And Sony, I think, are a lot more sort of media friendly and gamer friendly. So I think that's half the battle, right? But also, we've said, I think the 50% thing is a huge shock to the system. But Sony, if I'm right, 2 years ago, upped their prices around 30%. There's rumours now that they think they're going to do it again this year. Now, I said to you, I think they're going to hold off because of this reaction.
Mad. You've been mad. Well, you either surf on the same crest, or you point fingers and go, we ain't doing that.
Well, now it's time to stand by there for the gamers, because they can now raise it, right? Because Microsoft have, so almost why wouldn't they?
We saw it with Nintendo's hardware prices, right? The Switch 2 launched at a price that everyone went, oh, Christ, and then outsold everything anyway. And so almost immediately after that, PlayStation followed, Sony followed and increased the price of PlayStation. Then it was Microsoft, and then Microsoft did it again. Yeah. So it's not, you do almost, someone goes, you go first, and they give them permission. Well, you take the hit this time.
Well, the thing is then, and what do you do? Do Microsoft raise it 25% now and again 25% next year? And that looks worse because they're doing it 2 years running. And also, people had to go at Microsoft for upping the price of the hardware, but in the UK anyway, I don't think they've done it in the States. Well, States, they've got the tariffs, which is a whole other thing. But they've upped the digital version of the PlayStation, have reduced the internal memory. So
storage, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, storage. Yep, sorry. Yeah. So they've taken something out and kept the price the same for the normal unit, I think, and upped the price elsewhere. But that kind of goes under the radar. And I think it's because Sony is so much better at how they handle. They've got that goodwill, I think, and they've got that. What's the word? But basically, I think, let's say goodwill. And I think Microsoft, weirdly, for such a big company, are so bad at the PR. So bad.
I think they're bad, and they've had a reputation for years and years, for decades, of being money grabbing and money first, right? And there's that whole thing that went around years and years ago with the M and a dollar sign to stand for Microsoft, because that's all they really cared about. And that, I still use it now when I message you, the M dollar sign, that's Microsoft, and everyone kind of knows it. And that sprang from somewhere, right? That sprang from their need to be greedy. And we will, just a heads up, we are going to do a deep dive on the Xbox 360 in a future episode. So stay tuned for that, because there is detail in that about some of the practices that Microsoft went to both sell more units, but also stem the blood flow from big mistakes that they made that caused hardware failures that they had to stump on cash for. So there's always been this thing around Microsoft and money and either spending or trying to make in one way or another that has given the impression to gamers through the years that's all they really care about. It's always about the bottom line. And, you know, they're a big corporation. Of course, that's all they care about. Microsoft are a massive corporation, and Xbox is a part of that corporation. I'm not going to say big or small, but it is a part of that corporation. So Xbox on its own as a unit is not immune to the practices of Microsoft as a whole. They're just all seen as one thing, right? From shareholders down. They don't care that it's gamers, that it's this, that it's community. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They care about the bottom line. And that's, you know, and Sony are no different, admittedly, but you're right. They've always had very good PR, marketing. They're very savvy in that way. You know,
and they deliver games, and they deliver great games that people buy.
They do.
So they're not day one free, free quotes. They deliver games and people buy them.
And they also haven't harvested studios. They have bought studios, but they've put love and attention and care into them and made sure they are sustained. Not without casualties. They have also shut down a number of great studios, not as prolifically as Microsoft do, and not in the headline making ways that Microsoft do. Where it's, you know, where it's Sony might do it and shutter a studio, and it's like, 140 people lost their jobs. That's not news. People don't care about that in the news. But Microsoft buy studios and then go, they've just made 9,000 people redundant. That's news, and then, right?
And then the week after, they do job adverts for AI experts and AI, right? So
bad PR, bad marketing, bad Microsoft. That's what I'm talking about. Is that thing they're doing really? It's that giving someone a message, but fucking just laying it on with just bad news after bad news. And you're like,
you said it yourself. You hit the nail on the head. So I'm paying more money for nothing more than
nothing
what I've
extra.
already got. And
how are you trying to spin that? I'm not fucking stupid. And I mean, I am, but I'm not.
Again, another thing to
paying the money.
Well, and another thing to show how big this story was. So my wife, who I've said a number of times on here, isn't techie, isn't game sort of interested, sent me a link to the BBC article because this made the news about, you know, again, and we said it a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember about what, but we said, well, you know, it's more and more now gaming is in the mainstream media.
Do you know what made it worse though? Satya Nadella, I think, was not 2 weeks ago announced they'd made more than 10 billion revenue off of Game
Pass. We talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah. And so they're sitting there going, look at all the money we've made. We've got all this money from Game Pass. Oh, by the way, can you give us more?
Yeah.
That's basically what they've done. And you're like, well, fuck, what?
Yeah. And another story that's come to mind about this, because we're talking, now we brought Sony into it. So there was a survey, and I can't remember who, so apologies, I can't remember who done it, but they said Xbox gamers play more games than Sony PlayStation gamers, but PlayStation gamers play the games for longer.
Yeah.
And I think that is the Game Pass effect. That's the Game Pass effect. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because I can, like I said, it's the Netflix thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I've started watching, I'm not bored of that. I watch this and I'm bored of that. I'm going to watch that. It's the same thing with Game Pass. And I'm guilty of it. I play a game. We said it earlier. I play a game 10 minutes in. I'm like, this is shit, isn't it? What else is there?
Yeah.
I'll get a look at that.
And do you know the other thing? Oh, that reminds me, we've also played Split Fiction last week. But
we did. It was so good. It was so good.
Do you know, again, we talk about their PR. So the day after this 50% increase went out, the next day when I booted up my Xbox, the opening screen was an advert, a full screen advert before you got into it for it. So it's like, come on, Microsoft. Hire Dan and I. Well, actually, no, because maybe we should. But hire us for your PR because we tell you that was a bad idea, right?
Yeah. Hire us as the people who go, don't do that.
Or just let us let us proofread your ad.
Do you know what happened? Major Nelson left, and it all went downhill from there, mate. He was the one holding the ship together.
It's just, it feels like, you know, for a few weeks we'd sort of sung Microsoft praises, but the last few weeks they've just, it's like that scene from, do you remember the scene from Simpsons where Sideshow Bob is stepping on rakes in a guy?
Yeah.
Like that.
That's the Cape Fear episode.
It just feels like that's what they're doing at the moment, and it's such a fascinating one. Because I said...
What I fucking hate more than anything, though, is when they do this. They do all of these things, and then they have the fucking gall to stand up at a TGS or a summer game show and tell us how much they fucking care about and love gamers.
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you actually cared and loved gamers and understood, what they were willing to go to love and enjoy the thing that we do with such passion, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing to get to earn another couple of bucks for your shareholder, because that's essentially what they're doing. And that, if you make a bad investment, don't make the gamers pay for your mistakes. Because everyone can see through it, right? If you've invested in studios that you probably shouldn't have done because you don't know how to run them or you don't know how to get the best out of them, and you're just buying them because you want to be bigger than Sony, or you want to get in there before they do. When it goes to shit and you have to make 9,000 people redundant and turn to AI to do some of your stuff, don't then make the people who've made you as a unit of Microsoft, Xbox, don't make them pay for the mistakes that you made.
Yeah.
Because it is transparent. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting on
No. I think this is we have to, right? And that's what I was going to say earlier. Sorry, then we kind of digress. So, people obviously saying PlayStation is cheaper, and you're right, it is. But I guess, again, value, and this is what I was saying to you in the car yesterday. What is value and what is it to person? So you're paying just under £9 more a month for Xbox. And that's what I was saying about discounts. Yes, PlayStation discounted, but to be fair, I'm taking the monthly cost. So is £8.80 a month more than what you could get PlayStation Plus? Is that worth to you playing potentially, let's say, 20 day one games? Day one games, yeah.
For me, and this is where I come back to it being for me. Yes, because I would still rather pay that £9 extra a month and do that. Because I do get that value out of it. But that's a personal thing, right? It's just me, as how I play, how I choose to see the monetary value I get. But I totally understand 99% of people aren't going to be like that. They're going to be, no, this is just taking the piss. Why should I line their pockets? And I can empathise, I can sympathise, but I can't not do it because I do want to play those day one things,
and you will get value. And that is the thing, you will get value. The other thing is, for everyone who has cancelled their subscription, like for me, I haven't bought Expedition 33. I haven't bought, let's say Fortnite or Indiana Jones, etc. If I give up Game Pass, I will have to buy those.
Yes.
And there's a cost there. So again, it's a really, gaming, we've said so much, we love it. But now it's intrinsically is a business more than ever. And I said to you, whether it's just we look back at our youth with nostalgia or if it's a case, but I think I was saying, I'm not going to say you did, you felt like games companies back in the day at least felt like they were geared towards gaming and of course making a profit, not to say they were never making a profit, whereas now you can see behind the curtains because of social media and internet and far more information. It feels like they are just a business who do games as a product.
I think totally right. Games, as we've grown up and as we've discussed in many previous casts, games were made by gamers for gamers. And that historically, that was what was happened, right? Right up until probably 2010s. Gamers were made by people who loved gaming, wanted to get into that arena, create games and worlds for gamers because they knew and loved that, and had the same passion. What's happened through the last certainly 10, 15 years, corporations have got hold of the value of gaming. And we've talked about the value of gaming as a business, an overall business against, multiple times more than, movies and music put together. It's as an entertainment stream, it's phenomenal, the value in it. So of course, corporations would have got involved and said, right, well, we're hooks in that. Prime example of this, last week, EA, $55 billion buyout, the largest leverage buyout in history. And what I hadn't recognized about this is that I think I did mention it, but for those who aren't aware, they went 20 billion in debt against the value of EA to buy the thing. So they went, I can't afford it, but don't worry, I'm going to borrow money from the company that I'm buying to pay for and I'm like, how does that work? Like, if I go and buy a new car, I don't go, well, I haven't got the money to buy it, but can I borrow 20 grand of the value of the car to pay you the value of the car and then I'll pay you back?
That's happened for some, to bring football in, Premier League football teams, and ask them how it's gone.
So, Manchester United,
Yeah.
right. So it's a standard practice. I get that,
Yeah.
but what I'm not. Ignore the practice, forget what I said. But this is more about, you can see now that corporations have no vested interest in gaming whatsoever, right?
It's like pieces on a game board, isn't it? That they're saying, right, let's take that one, give you that one. Yeah.
Totally, right. PIF getting involved in this shit and the sports washing that they do and all the, all of this stuff is just about, it's either about image or it's about how to make the most money from the least effort. So it's no longer about the passion that gamers have for creating games or making games for the gaming community. It's about, fuck it. And, this bullshit AI, it's going to change the world. It's going to do all this stuff. It's just going to make things work. Right. What was the quote I saw the other day? I want AI to wash the dishes so I can write the poetry. I don't want AI to write the poetry, so I'm still washing the dishes. And that's the problem, right? I don't want any of that in gaming. I don't want it, I use it lightheartedly to create some YouTube videos, right? But I would never dream of putting that in our podcast as a replacement video for you and I, unless we were doing an episode about it.
You're not making content for the episode. No, that's the thing.
But this whole thing starts coming into this whole equation of corporations making money, which is why subscription services are going the direction they are, which is why Microsoft want to get more, squeeze as much out of it as they possibly can. And my fear is it only goes one way with all of them. You mentioned it yourself. Netflix do it. Disney do it. Apple do it. How much money can we script? How much can we multiply? I'm not getting any better value content for those things. I'm not getting better programming. And in the case of Disney, who probably one of the worst perpetrators, is going downhill. Look at the furore around Marvel. Right, Marvel movies were once brilliant and everybody loved them. Then superhero fatigue fit in. What did Marvel do? Well, let's churn out a load of old shit TV for everyone. And you're like, and then what? We'll increase your subscription price.
Yeah. Thank you.
Same practice though.
Yeah.
You're paying for the mistakes we've made.
Yeah.
Same as Microsoft are doing.
Yeah. You were going to come on to something about retailers and Xbox.
I worry about Xbox. The other side of Xbox was the hardware side, because there are. You sent it to me, I think.
Costco.
But I'd seen it. It was Costco discontinuing selling.
And in the UK and the US, that is.
Yeah. And Sam's Yard, I think it's Sam's Yard. Another big retailer in the US are doing the same thing. I think it was Sam's Yard.
I'll have a look. You sent me a link, but it's definitely in the UK and US, it's definitely Costco.
Costco are discontinuing. So, and they Costco sell quite a lot, I'd imagine. But they've just basically gone, I'm not going to sell them anymore.
But do you know what's interesting? Where I think that might also come from is, and I did see something that somewhere else is sort of similar. So Xbox in store is harder and harder to find games anyway. They do a lot less physical games, don't they? So much so I saw a lot of pictures online today that in Walmart in the States, in one of their stores, they've got Nintendo Switch games in the Xbox shelving, and in another one they've got Blu-rays and DVDs. So our retailers like Costco saying, well, we're not making any money from you now because you're not selling your games, you're doing it all into Game Pass, and I'm shifting your consoles for you. Because remember we said
a pittance, right? They're not making anything off them.
We said a few weeks ago about digital was always more expensive than retail because they didn't want to piss off the retailers who were their main source of selling things, right? Well, if you're not selling games through them and if you're not giving them the motivation to sell, well, they'll just put more space to PlayStation, right? And PlayStation games or Nintendo.
Well, I was in Smith's the other day, and Smith's still sell video games and hardware, but in the video game section, it was probably 2/3 Nintendo, and then equally split, although probably more PlayStation than Microsoft. So if you had 3 columns of games, 2 of them would have been PlayStation and 1 of them would have been Microsoft. There was very few Xbox games there, and a few more of the PlayStation, but
so few physical
wall Switch.
Yeah. Like I like
ironically, considering it's a card that you just download.
Well, they do. They do. Like these websites, like limited run games, where they do limited edition version. They do very, very few Xbox games, and it annoys me because some of these collections I love the look of. And we discussed collector's editions a while back. The reason I don't have them anymore is because Microsoft they just don't want to sell it physically.
Maybe they're doing my Steam Deck. Maybe the Steam Deck limited edition.
Don't. Right,
get a digital soundtrack.
I did want to say, because I'm looking at the time, right? So I should have said this at the start, but I did have some comments from Microsoft. So this was, I think, the official blog page for Microsoft when they did this. Yeah, so they said, our goal with Game Pass has been clear. Our goal with Game Pass has been clear. Deliver unmatched value, benefits, and a deep library of games for our players. Since launching in 2017, we've steadily grown our subscriber and creator satisfaction. And today, creator participation and player engagement in Game Pass are an all-time high. Maybe not so much now. But we have the opportunity for Game Pass to help more players find the creators and games they love. We know not everyone wants the same thing in their Xbox experience, so we're evolving Game Pass to offer more flexibility, choice, and value to all players, whether you love day one releases, discovering hidden gems, or playing across multiple devices and screens and across Xbox consoles, Xbox PC, and Xbox Cloud. Starting today, we're introducing 3 upgraded Game Pass plans based on how players play: Essential, Premium, and Ultimate. Each includes expanded game libraries, including PC titles, unlimited cloud gaming, in-game benefits, and a revamped Rewards with Xbox experience. Today's Game Pass core subscribers will automatically move to Essential, standard subscribers will transition to Premium, and Ultimate will remain in the Ultimate plan. It's all part of our commitment to meet players where they are, so you can choose what works best for you, no matter how or where you love to play.
What a load of corporate bullshit. Because the only thing that was factually true out of that is what they're actually doing, which is moving people across a tier.
Yeah.
The rest of it was absolute fucking nonsense. More value for money. Where exactly is my additional value for money? And if you come at me and tell me it's from fucking EA's old back catalogue, Ubisoft's old back catalogue, Microsoft, I'm coming for you.
Well,
I would sleep with one eye open.
Their director of communications, Dustin Blackwell, spoke to The Verge. And so this is Microsoft director of gaming, right? He said, it's something we don't take lightly, the price increases, and we're listening to the feedback of players in the community to try and provide them with more of what they're asking for. So I can see your face. Earlier this week, what he has said is it's reflected additional content added to the service, specifically its Ultimate tier. That will now include access to more than 400 titles globally, including the majority of our partners who want to continue to bring their future games to Game Pass. We're now giving access to more than 75 day one releases each year. That's a 50% increase over the day one titles we provided last year. Some would say because you've bought a load of companies.
Yeah.
And that's it basically. So what do you say to...
I'm wondering, I've got this sneaking suspicion that this is Don Matrick wearing a mask. I think he snuck back into Microsoft, like he's wearing prosthetics like Mrs. Doubtfire, and he snuck back in. Do you remember his whole thing around the Xbox One the Xbox One? And if people wanted a console that wasn't always online and didn't always have to, don't worry, we've got one for that. Yeah. It's called the 360. It's the same fucking sentiment. It's like, if you don't want to pay for it, don't worry, you can just do the cheap one, but still give us your money. It's fine, man.
Oh, well, Dan, look, right. Was there anything else specifically about this? I mean, I think it's a difficult one to unpick, isn't it? Because it's basically...
Oh, mate, I am rocking hard place because I think they're a bunch of absolute wankers and my rants have probably articulated that quite well tonight. But I'm still giving them money for Ultimate, Dan. I know what I'm doing.
No, but like I said, I think we've tried to look at this logically as well. And this is what, honestly... sort of listeners and viewers on this one, do get in touch with us. So,
please do. Yeah. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on this because it's such a wild thing for particularly Xbox gamers to get their heads around and justify, like I've failed to do tonight, why I'm still going to pay money for something that I'm really frustrated and angry about for other people.
Yeah,
that's the thing for me.
Yeah, look, we're trying to take again the console war element out of it, and we're trying to look at the actual facts and the reality of the situation.
Yeah, totally.
So, gaming views across social media, so Twitter and Blue Sky, Instagram, drop us a note on YouTube. We do respond, we do love a comment. And even on Spotify, let us know because this is a really important, and look, I wanted to ask you where we sort of saw the future of this going. I don't think you can predict right now because it just feels crazy right now. So who knows what it's going to be?
I genuinely can call it at this stage. I think we need to wait for the dust to settle on what's happened with Microsoft and what how, because let's face it, it's not like they haven't backpedaled rapidly in the past when something like this has happened.
They can't flick that switch, Dan. They can't.
No, they can't flick a switch, but they will have priced this into a bunch of stuff. Yeah. We can't just flick a switch.
Well, you mean this one here? Oh, we've done it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be really interested to find out, to see what happens and where the land lays in a couple of weeks, because I think it will be quite an interesting ride, and see what happens. But I think it's way too early to tell what's going to happen and whether or not, Sony are going to follow suit or do something similar, or I don't think you can call it.
No.
So stick with us is all I'd say, because we will have a lot more commentary on this and everything else that these lunatics do.
Yeah, and if there's a story that you think we haven't covered that you'd like us to, let us know as well. I mean, we are aiming to cover these things as they happen. Dan, I do want to kind of on the same subject, but change tack a little bit. So the original episode I had planned, I'd gathered a load of information for it, and I just want to throw a few things out there at the end, because subscription services didn't start with Xbox and PlayStation. So I just wanted to throw, and we're talking about cost and value, so I just wanted to throw a few things at you. So we may have mentioned one of these before, but look, Play Cable, 1981 in the US, was understood to be possibly the first true game subscription service. That was in 1981 Intellivision or Mattel. So users paid a monthly fee for a rotating library of games, and that was $4.95 to $9.95 a month in the early 80s. So we're not, it's not that much less than what you're getting for PlayStation now. And because that was down your phone line, you weren't going to get many games.
Yeah, we talked about this on a previous episode, didn't we? About these earlier subscription services already. I was quite gobsmacked at, but they were doing them through the through your aerial.
Yeah.
Which is all weird. Yeah, this stuff's going to follow us around forever. I think someone's always going to try and make a buck off of something.
Yeah.
Right. But the difference between then and now is the infrastructure wasn't in place for people to take, and people weren't used to it. We live in a generation where you don't own anything anymore.
Yeah.
Because you don't.
Yeah.
Whether it's your car subscription or your music subscription or your movies, or you don't own much. I don't even own my own house, to be fair. The bank owns it. But, so there's nothing in this life, and so nothing was in place back in those days. So it didn't take. Where you are now, it's a whole different story, as we spent the last hour and 20 minutes talking about.
Sega as well, 94, they offered 50 plus Genesis games a month for $15. And in 2006, it was the first, supposedly the first internet-based subscription gaming service, GameTap in the US, $9.95 a month for access to a large catalogue. So, it's just now, as you said, absolutely, it's taken this day and age for it to stick. But, I'm just looking and trying to do a comparison of costs, and we're at where we were all those years ago. But like you said, then it was new technology and limited in who would be able to have it. Whereas now everyone has got the majority of people would have access to this. But I'm finding the costs are rising to the levels at which they did when this was new technology. And that's the other interesting thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's, and it is, it's a weird thing, isn't it? It's,
I think that's a perfect summary.
I probably can't do that. But,
all right.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, and I can't find the one I'm looking for, but just wanted to do a couple of shout outs. One was one you sent me today, which was from Anthony Longmore, who messaged us on X, which was lovely of him to kind of say, he started listening to us through the Ian Lee's mentioned in Retro Gamer, which you talked about at the start of the episode, and he's now watched all the episodes. Thank you very much, Anthony. Lovely to have you on board. Absolute star. And then the other one was one you sent me the other day, which I loved the quote.
Got it
which
here.
Was, I can't remember who it was.
So
so apologies, but
old yellow bricks. So go on.
Old Yellow Bricks, who basically said to us, what did he say? I came for the Davids and stayed for the Dans.
Came here for the Davids, stayed for the Dans. Yeah.
That's such a lovely thing to say. So thank you very much. Lovely to have you both on board. Please do continue to listen. You know, we love having the comments. We love having the banter with you guys, and you know, and we will respond to each and every one of you, even if you're an arse.
And TikTok, and on TikTok, because Dan does brilliant work on our video stuff. So please do leave comments on that. And if we're doing comments, and do you know what, we should really do a recap of comments. I'm going to say his name, Dan. Joey Fitz. He leaves us a comment. He leaves us a comment on Spotify.
That, Joey.
So Game Club Pod.
Fucking popping up.
He said, another great episode, keep the skits up. Well, sorry, Joey, we've not done a skit for the next couple of weeks.
It's just been the entire episode, Joey, which we're used to seeing us on Cult Gaming. But thanks, Joey. Thanks for having you on board. Thanks for coming on board, mate.
Yeah.
And we love Joey.
Yeah.
Good.
Look, yeah, I think sum up. So, look, thank you to everyone new. Thank you to, and if you, hopefully you like this. Look, we are just two friends who love gaming, and we might, like, this episode may feel like a criticism of certain elements, but sometimes it's needed, right? Sometimes there's bad practices, and it's what we think.
Need a spank every now and again.
Yeah.
And it's simple as that. And Sony, to be fair, but their turn will come.
Yeah. So, anything else? Otherwise, we should just go.
No, we just go.
Let's see you next week for another episode of Gaming Views.
Ta-ta for now.